detail. It starts, of course, with the compute fabric, right? That ubiquitous compute fabric that spans the edge and the cloud. You then have this layer, which is the emerging layer where you have the models, you have context, you have the tools the models can access. And then on top of that, you have the runtime where you deploy your agents and applications that you built on top of the context layer, on top of the model layer. And then, of course, you have the best tooling to do all of this. And then you have the security, the compliance, and the governance, right? That's the simplest form of. Now, we are also announcing two very cool new models that are all going to run on Windows in box. The first is a new SLM. It's sort of a more efficient model, Aion Instruct. And it's a great reasoning model. And then we have the planning model, Aion Plan, which is a local agentic loop. I mean, think about it, right? You now have a full local agentic loop. You can give it tools access and build a fully onboard agentic applications without having to round trip to the cloud. And of course, we said in order to really push the limits, realize this unmetered intelligence, there's also a lot of hardware that's evolving too. And so we're thrilled to see the innovation across the Windows ecosystem, right? It's AMD with their Ryzen processors. The Panther Lake stuff from Intel is just exciting to see. Qualcomm announced two sets of things which are great. One on the high end with Snapdragon X2 Elite. And then on the low end, even for sub-500 PCs with Snapdragon C. So it's great to see all of this. And of course, that brings us to NVIDIA and RTX Spark. This is a next generation SoC for PCs. It brings together the CPU, the GPU, as well as the max the memory, build out that developer machine, that's the dream machine. And that's what we're announcing today. Surface, RTX Spark, DevBox. Let's roll the video.
I was pulled to you like water to the moon. You swell and I won't soon. Only when you want to. Skies are falling, but I loved you still. Now I wonder, did you really ever love me? Dining on me only when I'm good. Now that I'm gone, what do you think about me? Think about me. Think about me. What do you think about me? Everything's in bloom.
The maximum number of GPUs densely with network access. That means you really got fantastic higher performance networking, lower latency, and more effective bandwidth across the entire cluster. And we're rethinking even the power delivery, right? So we started, okay, how do we deliver hundreds of kilowatts per row while minimizing all the loss, right? Which is the conversion loss that happens from the grid to the silicon. So we basically sort of even took a new approach to it. And all of this also changes with the cooling system, right, and water. So in fact, the cooling loop is filled once, and the data center can operate effectively with zero water consumption. In fact, the daily water usage over the course of an entire year is roughly equivalent to what a single restaurant would use, right? I mean, that's... And when it comes to the systems and the silicon, again, we have a lot of choice. We have first-party silicon. We have partner systems. We were the very first cloud to bring up, in fact, NVIDIA's Vera Rubin system for validation. Very exciting to see that. We're working closely with AMD. We worked with them on MI300. Now we're working with them on their next generation AMD GPUs. Maia 200 is continuing to scale. In fact, it's live in Iowa and Arizona. We'll deploy it internationally later this year. It delivers 30% improved tokens per dollar compared to sort of what's the leading GPU today, and we have validated it with 5.5, GPT 5.5, and we are going to use that to power Microsoft 365 Copilot. And so maybe you want to talk a little bit, you have thought about this, talked about this, and now, of course, with RTX Spark, really delivered, I think, what's a breakthrough system for AI to be much more ubiquitous. But maybe, Jensen, you can just share a little bit your vision around where you see this going.
Well, this all started about 3 years ago between a conversation between you and I. And we were talking about how we could build a new class of PCs that's incredible for designers and creators, and it would be incredible for artificial intelligence. And it would be one of these systems that has the processing capability, but also the software stack that's integrated into the world's design packages and creator packages, and of course, all the things that we're doing with AI. And here we are, 3 years later, we built an incredible new chip. And this system is supported by all of this new software that you created for Windows. And we now have the ability to have essentially an autonomous agent running on the PC. Now, when you take a step back and you think about what does that mean? For the 40 years or some 30 years we've been working together, we went from inventing DirectX together to creating now this incredible computer that has autonomous systems running. The PC evolved from being an incredible tool to now being a tool that's used autonomously by an AI assistant. And so the idea that I could be traveling and I'm on the phone and I could text my PC.
It's the largest model catalog out there, from OpenAI to Anthropic, and of course even MAI models. And just last week, we brought the OpenAI real-time voice models along with Claude Opus 4.8 to Foundry. So we're continuing to bring all these frontier models. The consideration, though, about the models is becoming now increasingly key. In fact, from the last developer conference to now, when you're building any agentic system, having this context really shaped right is becoming super important. And in fact, it starts right at the data tier, right? The data estate to date has been built for applications that supported these user-facing applications, right? Now you have to change and build them for agents, which again, have very different call patterns even to the data tier. Agents are continuously storing, retrieving, reasoning. Yeah. So you'll have chat, co-work, and code all in Copilot. But today, we're introducing something completely new. Autopilots. We can think of autopilots as enterprise-grade claws. These are autonomous, long-running agents with full enterprise compliance that run in your tenant. Autopilots can have a name, personality, custom connectors, context, and memory, and they're a totally new way to reduce toil and get you back to what you love. To kick things off, the first autopilot we're introducing is Scout. Let's take a look. Majorana 2 implements the next generation material stack that we use Discovery to discover and build and help fabricate. The resulting qubits are exceptionally reliable and capable of maintaining their state much longer, while Other common approaches deliver a lifetime of just microseconds or even milliseconds. Majorana 2 provides qubit mean lifetime of 20 seconds or up to even a minute, essentially 1,000 times higher than what we were able to achieve with Majorana 1. And the operations, and this is so key, operations in Majorana 2 are 1 microsecond, enabling pretty complex quantum computation in that lifetime. And all of this in the same qubit form factor of Majorana 1, in 1/100th of a millimeter controlled all digitally, which is again a super important aspect, making it all possible to fit 1 million of these qubits to make the second story true. That's our North Star for the frontier ecosystem. Let's all go build together. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.